welcome to the Tea and a Buddy podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
Today's episode is Things I Never Saw Before Coming to the USA.
Or
Or
heard of.
heard of. Yeah, things I never saw or heard of before coming to the USA. And there was quite a lot. You know, when we went through the list, I was like, oh no, I hadn't heard of that before. Yeah.
Yeah. There's bound to be things on this list that we've mentioned before.
There's a couple. We're going
to be starting our third year of podcasting.
3rd years of podcasting. We're running out of topics, people. Send us topics. We need more topics.
Our 3rd year of podcasting in a couple of months. Yeah, we've done 2 years.
We're closing in on 2 years.
We're closing in on a full 2 years. Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, before you get started.
Without further ado.
No, without joking or, to be serious, if you guys do have any topics that you want us to talk about, let us know. We always appreciate you guys mentioning something that you would like to hear us talk about. So sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. We're just like, what are we going to talk about this week? But we do have a list.
We have a list of things that we like to talk about.
Yeah.
And
sometimes we don't want to talk about anything on that list.
sometimes we're just like,
So yeah, we appreciate knowing what you guys want to hear us talk about.
Yes.
Makes it a little bit easier to talk about it.
It does, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, on to the list.
What's
the first thing?
Oh, I've lost it. It's gone. The list.
This was like,
Yeah,
what?
you freaked out.
I was like, what?
Erica actually did freak out there. She went, where's it gone? I was like, it's right there.
I didn't know what you were talking
I was joking.
about.
It's okay. Calm down. It's a commercial. Fire hydrants.
Yeah.
Never heard of them
That
before.
That is so weird. You hadn't heard of them, or you hadn't ever seen them?
I'd never. Well, I'd seen them in like movies and stuff, but I didn't think. I thought they were just. I thought that was weird. I thought, why do they stick up out of the ground?
Yeah.
Because in Britain, people, when I mention that to anyone, it's like, oh yeah, fire hydrants is something new to me. I never seen them before. We don't have them in the UK. And people go, well, how do you get the water? It's like, well, there's a drain in the ground.
That's so...
And it's like, to say it's a hydrant, I think it's like a yellow H or something there.
I can't remember seeing these in Britain.
Well, no, because they weren't there. Because they weren't. It was like it just looks like any normal kind of little drain in the ground, and it's tiny.
Yeah.
And it's flush with the ground.
Yeah.
It looks like a drain. It looks like because it's a space issue, I think, because you can't be building these big things, and of course. There's a lot of it's not as big as in America where you've built out these roads and they're massive.
Yeah.
And you can afford to have fire hydrants every 200 feet or whatever, sticking out. And also it's a traffic hazard, isn't it? People crash into them and stuff like that, which is not the case over here, I guess. I mean, obviously some people do, I've got this image in my head of someone crashing into one and it just all the water going everywhere,
Well, in Britain, for anybody who's never been there are a lot of the sidewalks, like let's say on the row houses, for instance, the sidewalk is
it's flush with the house. Yeah.
No, it's flush with the street too. It's not raised that there's not much of a curb.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends, yeah.
So
depends how much they've tarmacked the road, and then it's just because it's just raised it, and so it's flush with the street all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's weird. I mean, I hadn't ever thought of that fact, but there's no fire hydrants, and I don't remember.
So the red ones, yeah.
I don't remember seeing where you guys hook up,
I mean, you'd never seen it in operation, when a fire.
No.
Fire engine
I've never
comes
seen
round.
one in operation in real life.
I've never. Well, I've never seen it either. I've never seen them there's a big fire. Let's connect up the water and go for it.
Yeah.
But in Britain, it's I watched a lot of London's Burning. I saw how they did it. I saw a couple in real life do it too.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I saw this house was on fire and a fire brigade were there with their thing, and they opened up the the drain covering, and then they stuck their hose into it, and away they went, you know?
Yeah.
I think they connected to the pump first.
Yeah. I think they have some water on the truck, though.
Yeah, they have some, but they have a tank on there.
Yeah.
But they have, like, a compressor, so they can, like, you know, really jet that spray out. Yeah. But yeah, that was one. Flags on houses.
Yeah, this is one that we maybe have mentioned.
We've mentioned this before. I mean, it's because it ties into the patriotism and all that. Yeah. You know? I've seen. Well, I mean, 2 doors down, they have one in their garden. Mm-hmm. Well, it's in their front yard. They also have a Trump sticker on their truck, so we won't mention that. And they have one, and I think they have one on their thing I've seen as well. I mean, it's patriotism over here. It's not thought twice about over here. Yeah. But in Britain, if you see someone with, like, the Union flag on their house or an England flag, it's kind of like, you know, those people are racist. You know,
they're patriotic.
It's not, it's that they're patriotic, but it's also they vote a certain way. Yeah. I mean, over here, it's not that, you know.
It's like, not, because you can see it never was before, but it has sort of, is starting to sort of become that,
It's like England first and stuff like that in Britain, and, you know, like you see people with England, and they're wearing England shirts, and they're like, get the immigrants out, you know. Yeah. It's like, it's got racist connotations with those type of people, you know. But over here, it's like, it's everywhere, you know, you see flags all over the place, you know, because they're very patriotic. America's great, you know. Yeah. But now...
It was always like...
With 45, it's, you know...
Yeah. It was always, over here, sort of more to honor, like... The veterans in your family, yeah. You would fly a flag to honor the veterans, whoever, you know... Pretty much everybody has someone who was a veteran at some point, you know, and that was generally what it was. I mean, you'd see them on 4th of July or Memorial Day or, you know, whatever. But yeah, like you said, with the current
how we honor our veterans in the UK, we have November 11th, the Remembrance Sunday, and throughout the whole month of November, you'll see people wearing poppies. Yeah. And that's how it's done, you know? Yeah, like a poppy wreath. And, you know, people wearing poppies on their thing, you know, and they're sold by various charities. Yeah. It's not like waving the flag or anything. I think the waving the flag has, you know, it's because it's like, it's connotations with the British Empire.
You only really see the flag, like, when the
Queen...
Yeah,
the Queen comes out,
if there's a royal something.
Yeah, and that's
royal
fine.
Wedding or...
It's like, it's fine, you know, they're royalists, you know. Yeah. They're loyal to the crown, you know. Yeah. Whereas, you know, anyone else doing it for, like, my veterans, you know, British Army and all that. It's kind of like, it's got empire connotations. The British Empire was terrible. Ruled 1/4 of the earth, atrocities, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the English Defence League and all this kind of stuff comes into play, you know, the England shirts, Bold Brummies are back, all that kind of stuff, you know. Bold Brummies are back!
Oh, my God. Yeah.
But yes, that's something I never really saw much of before coming over here. Yeah. And there we go. The next one is... rattlesnakes. Yeah. Yeah. So never saw a rattlesnake before I came over here.
Yeah. I had only ever seen them until this past weekend. If you guys stayed on listening all the way till the end of our podcast on Tuesday, then
it's been a very rattlesnakey week.
You'll have heard our rattlesnake story, but yeah, I think I had only ever seen them like in tanks at
I named him. He's called Old Walt.
The aquarium or the zoo or wherever, you know. Yeah. You know, where they have them so that you can see.
I mean, I'd never seen one even in a tank or a zoo or anything like that. I don't think I'd ever seen one. Yeah. Because, you know, you go to these things and you go to the zoo and they show you the reptiles and all that. And I don't think that they ever had like a rattlesnake or anything.
I think most people hope never to see them in real life.
Well, yeah, but we did. So we've seen him for you.
We're special.
Old Walt,
apparently.
Everybody.
Yeah. Rattlesnakes, yeah.
Softball. That's the next one on the list. Softball. Again, you know, it was like when I was a kid, we played rounders, which is like a version of softball, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of similar to baseball, but, you know, softball.
Is it with a bigger ball? Like,
I think so. I can't remember.
Because, you know, a baseball is quite a lot smaller than a softball.
Yeah.
But rounders is the bigger ball, like a softball size?
Yeah, I think it was, because I was very young. I remember being very young playing that.
Yeah. Maybe
about 6 or 7.
Well, that's funny. You had heard of baseball, but not softball.
Yeah, softball. I mean, I thought softball wasn't actually a thing. You know,
I mean,
it was like rounders, and it was like a rounders thing. You know.
Yeah. I mean, softball is for anybody listening who's not in America who also doesn't know what softball is. Softball is the, in quotation marks, girl version of baseball.
Yeah.
It has slightly different rules, and the ball is just a bit bigger. They pitch differently, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's very commonly played in corporations. You know,
yeah, that's kind of like a team building exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have a company softball game, you know, where you all like form a team and you play each other. You play against each other, you know. Or sometimes you play a different office, you know, altogether.
That's kind of like the sport that you do that with in Britain, like corporations and stuff. It would be like football, which is soccer. They'd have like a 5-a-side team or something.
Oh, really?
They'd have like maybe a rugby game, but usually it'd be like a game of cricket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so cricket is kind of like the version of, it's like England's baseball, if you want to say that, you know.
Yeah.
And that's something that made its way around the world. I think India, Australia, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, they all play cricket. You know, they're all big into cricket because of the empire, you know.
Yeah.
And that was like the national game of the empire, I think, cricket, you know. And it's not that huge. I mean, football is much bigger in Britain.
Yeah,
you know,
I wonder how
soccer
is
much bigger
happened.
in Britain. Yeah, and cricket is like it's big, but it's like it's a gentrified sport now.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yes, only the upper classes like it. Because we were watching that about how the game, the FA and stuff started.
Yeah,
with soccer and stuff, and then it quickly became the domain of the working class. Yeah, and it kind of still remains that way to this day. Mm-hmm. Whereas cricket, you know, probably started as a domain of the working class, and then the gentry just decided, oh yes, we're going to have a cricket match. And,
we're going to switch to cricket.
Let's switch to cricket now. And
they play it here. You and I have seen several people having cricket matches. I was going to say a cricket game, but that's not the right word, is it? Cricket match.
I played cricket once, and I never understood it. It's got weird rules.
It does look a little bit like baseball, doesn't it? I mean, you have someone like
it's a harder ball.
Pitching,
because I had to wear a cup.
Yeah.
I remember when I put on the whites and they were like, have you got your cup? And I was like, what cup? What are you talking about?
Well,
what cup?
I mean, you have to wear a cup in baseball.
Yeah. So. And I was like, what do you mean the cup? He's like, no, you need to wear a cup. Because that ball is... Yeah. And it's like really knotted hard, like... It's almost like a stone, almost, but it's not. It's like really wound up tight, like coiled, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Rubber or whatever material. And that thing, if that hits you there, you're down, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember, you know, it's like, you know, doing that, and I just remember playing it, and I was just like, I'm not really into this, because it was very Devon. Cricket, cream teas, and all cricket games on the lawn.
And they were all white, don't they? Everybody wears
all white with the shin pads.
How do you know who's playing on whose team, then? You just know?
You just know.
Because everybody's in white, right?
Yeah, everybody's in white, yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of like tennis. Don't they do that in tennis too? Everybody wears white.
Yeah, I'm not sure
if you're playing like doubles tennis or whatever.
Everybody wears like a white thing. But cricket. I just never got into it. Wicket keepers and all that kind of stuff. It was just Anyway, but softball, you know, I mean, it's the same sort of thing. Sheriffs is the next one on the list.
You
never saw.
You'd heard of them.
I'd heard of them, but it was like a Wild West thing, and I thought it was like an antiquated
you thought
thing.
It was something that didn't exist anymore.
It was like, it's like it went out with the shilling, sheriffs and all that. It's like the sheriff of Nottingham and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's something that's antiquated. Came over here and I saw it, and I think you said to me, "Oh, it's the Williamson County Sheriff," and I'm like, "What do you mean the sheriff? What are you talking about the sheriff?"
And they've got like a sheriff, like a star badge on the car.
And they wear the little hats and everything. They've got the star badge, and it's like, yeah, the sheriff. Oh, it's the sheriff. It's like the sheriff of Nottingham. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, that is so funny. Do you guys have sheriff's departments where you live? I'm just curious whether that's just...
It might not be a state thing. It might be a Texas thing.
Right. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it exists outside of Texas.
Because it's so old-timey to me. It's like Wild West. It's like,
it's...
Gotta talk to the sheriff,
It's a way to split up areas so that not all of one area is controlled just by one department. It gives the...
I don't... Are they like... Because the state police, right? State troopers aren't sheriffs,
no,
right?
They travel... State troopers travel the length of the state. They can go anywhere in the state.
You have so many police departments.
Sheriff's departments handle the counties. They're the police.
So what does
of the
APD
counties.
do then?
They're the police of the city. They don't have jurisdiction outside of the city. APD is Austin Police Department. They don't have jurisdiction outside of Austin city limits.
Because I've seen Cedar Park police going around in their car.
Yeah.
And Round Rock
but they
police.
Won't have, and none of them will have jurisdiction outside of their towns. Their
How
cities.
do they know though?
Well, they know where their boundaries are, I suppose.
I suppose they have like a little map and they go, "Oh, I'm going over that little I'm in APD territory right now. I've got to turn around."
Yeah.
But the sheriff, if you like Travis County Sheriff, Austin is in Travis County.
Yeah.
So you have jurisdiction within the city, surely.
But Travis County also exists outside of Austin, so there's got to be somebody who,
I suppose it makes sense, because Texas is bloody huge.
Yeah.
On its own as a state.
So that being said, probably all the states have sheriff's departments.
They must do. I imagine there's a California sheriff.
The same thing. But then like in Louisiana, they don't have counties, they have parishes, which are the same thing, I think.
Well, yeah, I know about the sheriffs of Louisiana from Live and Let Die.
Yes.
Sheriff J.W. Pepper.
Oh my god.
Because he was like this county, I don't know where he was. It was like he was the parish sheriff,
Yeah.
And but they had the state police, and they were always kind of like frictioned, and he was like, "I'm commandeering this here vehicle."
Okay, all of your knowledge comes from James Bond.
But it was like a cartoon type thing. It was like, oh yeah, this doesn't actually exist, but it does. There are people, they call them sheriffs.
All right, get on with your list.
And speaking of sheriffs, apparently they don't arrest you when you go right on a red light over here.
Yeah.
That's something I was like, because I think you were taking me somewhere from the airport or something, and there's a red light coming up, and I was like, okay, but then you kind of like, so you went into the other lane, and you just went, I was like, that's a red light, you're running a red light.
I remember you saying that. It's red,
it's red, and you were just like, oh, I can go, and I was like, what are you talking about, you can go? Red means stop. Green means go.
Oh, I can go. And that's exactly the way I said it as well.
It's like, oh no, it's okay, I can go. I was like, I can go if there's an opening. I'm like, what are you talking about? You can go if there's an opening.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the point of this red light then? It's
because I'm turning right. I'm going with the flow of traffic. So.
Why can't you turn left on red then? Oh, yeah, I guess you don't turn left on red.
You can turn left on red if you're turning from a one-way to a one-way.
Okay.
Yeah, you can turn left on red. If when you turn...
What's the point of having a red light? It's like, you know, it's like, oh, there's so many car accidents in the US. So many, because they drive so many cars. But because they also run red lights because they can turn right and left.
That's so funny.
So I can go straight on red if I feel like it, you know?
But like in downtown Austin, you'll see signs that say no right on red. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So if you see a sign that says no right on red, then you can't turn
because you
right
can't do that in Britain. You cannot turn right on red. It's red light means stop.
Red light means red light.
Red light means
red
stop.
Red light. It's a red light.
So I was like, it's a red light, you fool. And you know, on the driving theme, drive through everything. You know, you can drive through pharmacy, banks. I mean, obviously, like fast food restaurants, but yeah, the banks, liquor stores, yeah. And there was something else.
Laundromats.
Or
not laundromats, but dry cleaning. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing they don't have, and they're starting to get them now, are drive-through grocery stores. But that's only if you like. Oh, I've ordered online. I'm going to drive through and I'm going to pick it up. You know.
You can't actually drive through. You have to
pull in. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess a bank is the same thing. You're not actually just driving through and getting your money. You have to stop and talk to the teller and all of that. Yeah. I think we've mentioned that one before in a different podcast because that definitely is something that you found fascinating when you first got here.
It's just like driving through the bank. Like, what? You don't actually go in anywhere. You just talk to them on a little speaker. Yeah, I mean, people not getting out when they're getting out of their cars.
It's like, okay, so I have to go run some errands, you know. First I'm going to pick up lunch, and then I'm going to go to the bank, and then I've got to go pick up my dry cleaning, and then I'm going to stop off at the pharmacy, and then on my way home I'm going to stop off at the
You never get
store.
out of your car.
You never get out of your car at once. All of those places, yeah.
It's like WALL-E. Like with
God, yeah.
WALL-E in the chair with the drink and everything. You know?
I mean, they made that movie for a reason.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, peanut scraps on the floor is the next one.
Yeah. I mean...
So you want to talk about that?
Well, you'll have to explain what you mean for people not in the United States.
My first meal at a Texas Roadhouse over here.
Which is a steakhouse.
It's a steakhouse. And it's, you know, Texas Roadhouse. And I went there and there was like peanut shells all over the floor, like sawdust. It looked like sawdust. And, you know, but it was all over the floor. And you mentioned it to me before we went in. You said, oh, yeah, there's going to be peanut shells on the floor. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
What's that supposed to signify? What's that supposed
to... don't freak out. Like...
Don't freak out. I was like, freak out about what? I mean, the fact that they don't... Hoover or, you know, brush their floor or whatever, you know, sweep their floor. It's just like, you know, what? It's like, oh, because it's a thing. It's a thing. It's like, what? Is it like... And I was expecting people just like the sheriffs, you know, they were just eating the peanuts and just going, you know, in the spittoon.
God.
It's like, oh, we've done away with the spittoon. We'll just spit it on the floor now.
I mean, they do that at like at sports bars also. They'll have peanuts on the bar, you know, or whatever.
You just crack it and throw it on the floor.
I really have no idea where that started, where that comes from.
It came from someone who was too lazy. The cleaner just like, just put it on the floor.
There was
I don't care.
some place that I remember going to when we first moved to Austin. That was actually the first place I had ever seen it. All the peanut shells everywhere. Oh, God, I can't remember what restaurant it was. Also, they would cut your tie. If you came in wearing a tie, they'd cut it. They'd cut it right.
What if that was a really expensive tie?
I mean, I guess...
What if I bought that tie at Savile Row?
And they had them all, like, on
I
the
would
wall.
Be so annoyed.
It's just gimmicks.
I'm going to sue you.
It's gimmicks, isn't it? But, you know...
Do you know how much that tie cost? More than your wages.
The peanut shells being on the floor, though. It is pretty disgusting, really. I don't know. I mean,
it didn't freak me out. I was just like, okay, you know, I'm just trodding on, like, you know, crunchy peanut shells. I was just like, okay, it's kind of a gimmick. I thought it was just a Texas Roadhouse thing, but you said, oh, yeah, most steakhouses do it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Yeah, like this again, it's like the theme of the Wild West, you know, sheriffs.
Yeah, I guess.
Peanuts on the floor, going right on red.
I guess so.
Rattlesnakes, you know.
I was sure that they did that at Five Guys Burgers and Fries also.
No, they just have
the peanuts in the barrel. Yeah. I wonder if they do that in Britain. Anybody listening in Britain that has been to a Five Guys in Britain, do they have the barrel of peanuts? I wonder if that's a thing in Britain.
Maybe, no. I don't know. Someone will have to tell us, because we haven't been to a Five Guys in Britain.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity.
One thing still never seen.
Yeah.
Live.
Yes.
Alive.
God.
Because I've seen plenty of dead ones.
Oh, no.
Roadkill. There we go. That's another one, actually. Roadkill. Never saw Roadkill before.
Oh, what?
No, I mean, I might have seen a couple of, like, dead hedgehogs, but not, like, anything like I've seen here. Pretty much everything is flattened. And, when you, on I-35.
This is a horrible topic.
But armadillos is the one I really want to see a live armadillo. It's really sweet in his little shell. And
all
he's just
the
like,
years you've lived here, still have yet to see one.
Yeah, I mean, they come out at night. I've seen possums. Mm-hmm. I've seen raccoons. I've even seen skunks.
You've seen a rattlesnake now.
And a rattlesnake. So, luck would have it, I'll see an armadillo today.
Where are the armadillos? Yeah.
Where are the armadillos? I didn't even know they were an actual thing. I just remember this advert when I was a kid. And this guy who used to scream, "Armadillos!" And I just thought it was like some sort... It was just this guy who's got armadillos, and everybody used to scream. I can't remember what the advert was for now. If anybody can remember, I'm probably going to Google it, actually. But if anyone, can remember what it was or, whatever. I can't remember who was in the advert or what the advert was for, but he used to scream, "Armadillos!"
Oh, my God.
And people used to scream it, and it's just like... And I had no idea what an armadillo was. It was when I was a kid, I think.
They're cute. They look like they're in their, they're ready to go into battle.
They got their little helmets on, their armor and stuff. They got little tails, and they got little snouts, and they got little porky legs, like little piggy legs.
Yeah.
They just go do-do-do-do, little trotters, They're really cute. But I haven't seen one in the wild live or anything like that. I haven't seen one alive. I've only just seen them flattened on the road.
Oh my God. Okay, next.
Thank you, next.
Yes.
Fireflies. Now, I've definitely seen them. Mm-hmm. Now, those are really cute.
Yeah.
Those are the best things ever, actually. Best things ever in America. Goodbye.
That's so weird that they don't exist in Britain, but yeah. I mean...
it's too cold, I guess. It's
so.
too cold for them.
Yeah, because you really only see them, like, during the summer.
And... It's because we live around here with a lot of trees, so they're under the trees all the time, and they're just like boop, 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 boom, boom, boom. I'm just like, oh,
they look like little fairies.
Flying around. You think, and you always say, oh, it's so weird because Britain's got all this magical fairy and mystical magical stuff that they would have fireflies, But it's like, no.
I always think fireflies are awesome because I'm like, can you imagine they had electricity before we did?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so cool. Yeah, they're definitely...
They just open their wings and just go, hello.
They're definitely one of the coolest bugs, yeah.
They're really cute. Next one is the appetizer and entree thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
I'd never heard of that.
I'd never heard of that before because when we first went to a restaurant, I was like, appetizer, entree. I was like, what's an entree?
Yeah.
I thought the entree was the appetizer because it's entree. It's the, it's like, but it's like, no, that's the main meal.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how does that make any sense that it's the main meal? Because it literally means entry in French.
I have no answer for you.
I mean, appetizer, a starter is what we call it in Britain, and the main course is what we, the starter, the main course, and then there's like, what do you call it? The dessert menu. It's just desserts.
Dessert,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it sometimes the sweet.
Or afters.
Or after. That's kind of like that. I don't think they say afters.
They wouldn't say that
on a menu. It would be sweet.
Yeah. That's weird though.
It's very sweet.
Just sweet.
Because it's sweet. It's something sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's, what do you always say? I need something sweet.
Yes.
Yes. So that was a bit weird. That was something I never saw. Gaps in the toilet stalls.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
I hear everyone.
And even now Americans are starting to say, wait a minute, why do we have this?
Yeah.
I mean, what? And someone's actually done some research into it, surely, and they were just like, oh, is it just laziness on an architect's part, or or a builder's part, or whatever,
so.
you know?
I think it's probably more like cutting corners, maybe, just like it's less materials if it doesn't go all the way up to the ground. It's probably easier to install if it doesn't, I mean, up to the,
because it's
from the ground to the ceiling, you know. It's probably just cheap.
It's cheap, but it's also, someone said, oh, it was a safety issue too. If you got locked in the toilet, you could get out.
Oh yeah.
You know? And it's like, yeah, but a pervert can also get in. You know?
Yeah.
It's like in a woman's bathroom, especially, you know? I mean, and, you know, because someone said, oh, yeah, the first time I had to use one, and the gaps are this wide. But it's, like, fine if it's, like, you know, like the gaps up on the top and the bottom. You can see, and someone said, oh, yeah, you can see if someone's using that stall.
Yeah.
Saying, well, it's locked for a start, you know? But there's also the gap, like, between the, you know, the door frame and the door, you know?
Yeah.
You can see out there, you can see, like, someone in there. Someone could easily just press their eye in and look.
Well, they don't even have to. I mean, if you just glance through, I mean, I don't know how many times I've made eye contact with people when I'm in the toilet.
I don't even know. It's like, no! You don't make eye contact with anyone!
They're just like, you're on the toilet.
In a public bathroom.
You're in the toilet and someone's just like, you know, they're not trying to, but it's just like the gaps are so wide that it's like unavoidable sometimes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's terrible. I do hate it. Even worse, though, is that most of the time there's not even a lock on the door, so it's just like
it just swings open and you're just like, hello.
Open. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy America, everybody. Garbage disposal units.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're a thing in the UK, but we never had one. And I was just like, what is that? You know? I mean, what do you put down there, really?
Well, food scraps.
Yeah, but you've got composting for that.
We've got composting now, yeah.
Yeah, because we had composting in Britain, so food scraps will go in there, you know.
I mean, I have always assumed before we started the composting program here in Austin, I had always just assumed that if you put food scraps in the garbage disposal, that stuff was going to
it's going down the drain
somewhere.
It's just getting cut up and thrown down the drain.
I mean, I guess, but then what? You know, it's just
then
like,
what? It goes into
going into the water supply or whatever.
I don't know what it's doing.
It's still gonna like compost though, isn't it? Because it's natural stuff.
It's natural stuff, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they when they mix it with like whatever, you know, and when they treat the water and stuff.
So I mean, I'm not really sure what the difference between putting your food waste down the garbage disposal and like saving it in a bucket to go into composting. I don't know what the difference is, but you know.
One thing though that will be going into the garbage disposal is grape flavor candy, grape flavor anything, grape jelly, grape jam, grape juice. It's just why? And it's not like white grape flavor, it's purple grape flavor.
They don't have grape flavored anything in Britain?
I don't think so, no.
That's so weird.
And I mean, it's replaced, like, you know, grape-flavored Skittles. They replace, like, the blackcurrant flavor. Mm-hmm. Grape-flavored Starburst.
I guess...
Which is blackcurrant in the UK.
I don't think we don't have grape Starburst, do we?
Oh, I'm sure we do.
I think it's just orange, lemon,
I mean, I'm sure we have blackcurrant
and
Starburst. Oh, maybe?
Just
I don't know.
Pink,
do we?
Yellow and orange, I think.
Someone will have to fill us in on that.
I mean, they have, like, you know, they have the other flavors of
yeah, they do that.
Starburst, like, I don't know, tropical.
We had, I might be thinking of Chewits, which is similar to Starburst in the UK.
But yeah, that's weird because, I mean, you guys have grapes.
Yeah, I mean, we have...
the fruit, grapes.
Yeah, we have red and green grapes and black grapes, but grape flavor is absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
I guess it's like a thing because it's like,
I think don't like the blackcurrant flavor though. So
well, no, because it's kind of like it's never been known.
Yeah, it's just something we've.
It was banned, I think, over here for a long time.
What?
Yeah, they ban everything over here. And they never tell you that they've banned it.
Oh my god!
They say no blackcurrants for you. You're not getting no blackcurrants because that's what they sound like. The people who ban things over here. And the last thing we've got on here, because we're a little bit out of time, red Solo cups.
Yeah.
You've seen them all in the movies, but they're actually a thing. It's not just a prop that they use for the movies, you know.
The funny thing is if you guys heard our podcast on sex education, the Netflix series last week.
Yeah. That was one of the things.
We just finished it. Yeah. So we're all caught up now. We've been through season 1 and season 2. And I think like one of the last episodes of season 2, he throws a party.
He throws a party.
And everybody's drinking
It's
out
like
of
a
red
very
Solo
American
cups.
house party with red Solo cups. I'm like, yeah, this is totally a thing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're in Britain now because it's like, oh, Solo it's a company, isn't it?
I think, yeah, it's the name of the company.
So, you know, it's just like, because a lot of like British people just saw them in like American Pie or whatever, you know, these teen house, like John Hughes films or whatever, you know, they go to a party and all the kids would be drinking out of red Solo cups.
Yeah.
When I got over here and we, you know, we had them for like a picnic, you pulled them out and I was just like, huh? Because we don't throw house parties.
I think that's
anymore.
I think that's why they were red to begin with, because it's like that's a cute color and people do take them on picnics or whatever, but you can get them in any color now. I always think of that classic Friends episode where Phoebe's like, well, I'm gonna be in charge of cups.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She's making party hats out of them, she's making decorations, she's like, and everybody's all into the cups, you know, and they're just like, how did she make that a thing? You know, but they make them in all different colors. They make them clear now. They're not just red, but red is the one you see in all the like, teenage movies. And they were in that sex education. So.
Yeah, so you know that was like, it was got an American theme there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something. Those are the things I never saw before coming to the USA. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you as always for tuning in. We really, really, really appreciate your support, and we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.